It wasn't long after Nicolas Maduro was captured, brought to the U.S. for trial, that I saw mention of our next guest in an article that was in the Wall Street Journal. This was early January 3rd of 2026. The headline was "Finance Industry Eyes Investment Opportunities in Venezuela." Charles Meyers, the founder and chairman of Signum Global Advisors, was planning a trip to Caracas, quote, with officials from top hedge funds and asset managers to determine whether there are investment prospects in the country under new leadership. That trip has just happened. Charles and I have stayed in touch. I said, you got to come on the show when you get back from the trip. He got back on Wednesday night, and Charles Meyers joins us now. Charles, great to have you with us. And let me just start with what you set out to do there, as outlined in that piece, to see if there are, in fact, investment opportunities in Venezuela. What did you learn over the course of this two-day trip that you took to Caracas?
Yeah, good morning, and thanks for having me on. So we, as a firm, we're sort of known for doing these trips. Last year, we took clients to Ukraine and to Syria to meet with the governments there to look at reconstruction opportunities. So Venezuela was sort of a natural for us post-Maduro. We, however, for this trip had so much more interest that we had to turn it into a conference on the ground. We had 55 participants from all over the world fly in and do a two-day conference on the ground. I'd say that our biggest takeaway is things are moving at light speed in Venezuela. The government is pushing through significant reforms that benefit foreign investors. They've changed the hydrocarbons law. They changed the minerals law. There's also things on the diplomatic front. We've reestablished diplomatic ties with Venezuela, the United States. American Airlines is launching nonstop service from Miami next month to Caracas. Things are moving at light speed for foreign investors. Our 2 days there, including meeting with the president of the republic, was very productive. I think most people, including myself, walked away even more optimistic on the future of Venezuela.
We saw that picture there of you with the acting president, Delcy Rodriguez.
Charles, I have some questions about your take on the durability of those changes and those reforms. But first, I do just want to ask you about the atmospherics, about the trip. You met with the president. You were in and out of the palace. I don't know if you went. I think you went to the U.S. Embassy. Can you just talk to us about what you saw, how the city is feeling and looking? What, the apparatus around the president and the government, what your impression was from meeting with them and just seeing them kind of in action?
Yeah, first, just on atmospherics, to say that we did not feel unsafe at all the entire trip. We did hire a private security company with armored cars and bodyguards. We actually didn't need them in the end. All of our meetings took place, including with the American ambassador, at the hotel where we conducted the conference, except for the meeting with the interim president. We went to Miraflores, the presidential palace, met with her, half of her cabinet. I would say that the biggest takeaway from all of these meetings, including our visit with the president, is that Venezuela is open for foreign investment. Her entire talk with us, or her entire discussion with us, was around the future of economic success in Venezuela, central to which is foreign investment.
Christina, bringing up durability, let me ask you about that, because after Maduro was captured, I think there was a lot of commentary from energy executives, oil executives, about what it would take for them to make a sustained commitment in that country at this point in time, amidst kind of the uncertainty about who's going to be leading it, are there going to be elections, et cetera, et cetera. What risks remain as you talk to those that you traveled with? What are they still worried about, or what do they still need to see to feel incredibly more so confident in investing in the country?
Yeah, so just to say, again, this is a medium-term play. It's not, everything's going to happen overnight for foreign investors. First, the United States needs to lift sanctions. That's the biggest obstacle today, I think, for most foreign investment, not necessarily in oil and gas, because U.S. Treasury is issuing waivers and licenses so that U.S. And other foreign oil and gas companies can go in and start to operate. But on the durability issue, here's what I would say. It's been basically 3 months since Maduro was taken out. That is a very short period of time. Mm-hmm. So far, the government, as I said, has pushed through meaningful structural reform. This looks like a very stable government for now, and I think that we'll continue to see progress both on the U.S. sanctions lifting side, but also their banking system needs to be reconnected into the global banking system. This is a country that has really emerging from 27 years of economic and political repression. It's going to take a bit of time, but I think it is durable. On elections, if I can very quickly, because I get this question a lot, foreign investors don't need to see a transition to democracy. Foreign investors invest in countries around the world, including in the Gulf, where there is not a democracy. But having said that, I think we're looking at what Secretary Rubio has laid out, which is about a 2-year transition to democratic elections in Venezuela. I think we'll get there as well.
All right, but when you're talking about elections and uncertainty for investors, there are 2 elections at play here, because I would be concerned if I were investing about who gets elected to the White House the next time and whether or not these commitments and involvement from the U.S. are going to stay or change or impact the government in Venezuela. What is your take on that? Is that something the folks you brought with you are concerned about?
Yeah, so there are 2 main issues there, right? First, Venezuela needs to hold their own elections and transition to democracy. I think that does happen within about 2 years. By then, Trump will still be in office, so we don't have, the 2028 election. If a Democrat wins the White House, as long as Venezuela is still a stable, prosperous country that has already undergone their democratic transition, I think a Democratic White House would be incredibly supportive. And if I can, on this issue of durability and the importance of Venezuela, no matter who wins our election in 2028, Venezuela, the Strait of Hormuz being closed and the war in Iran has highlighted how critical it is to have a more secure supply of oil or a more secure supply of energy. Venezuela is that. They're sitting on the world's largest oil reserves today, and I think makes Venezuela even more attractive and more critical to U.S. national security, regardless of our politics.
Charles, we got about a minute left. You are a frontier investor. You mentioned that you've been to Ukraine recently, been to Syria as well. How does Venezuela compare to those or other kind of frontier economies you've visited to and invested in? What makes this unique?
Venezuela has 2 advantages that no other country in the world, frontier or other, has, frankly, which is, first, they're sitting on the world's largest oil reserves. They have a guaranteed income stream. The only variable is how much faster that income stream will grow as they increase output. I'm very optimistic on that. Secondly, the United States government, this administration, is fully invested in the future of Venezuela, which is their economic success, central to which is foreign investment. Those are 2 advantages no other country in the world has. And again, I think we need to understand it'll be a little bumpy from here. They just had a major political change 3 months ago, but I think that Venezuela will surprise on the upside for investors. The bonds are already reflecting that. The defaulted bonds, take a look at the Caracas Stock Exchange. It was one of the most liquid in the world in Latin America pre-Chavez. There's a lot of opportunity in oil and gas, construction, ports, infrastructure, consumer goods, banking, insurance, and payments. I'm very optimistic on Venezuela.